Here we go. Sponsored by Bet365.
We're live at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea taking on Swansea, the semi-final of the Capital One Cup first leg. Teams are in the tunnel. Dennis Wise and Chris Coleman sitting alongside me. Dennis, you've been there. What's it like, stood in that tunnel before you come out when you're so close to Wembley?
Yeah, look, it is very exciting. You know, you're one step away from it, and I think every player dreams of playing at Wembley and playing in a final. You know, and they'll want to go out there and they want to win. How they win, I don't think it matters to them. You know, at the end of the day, they want to get the result that they're looking for and get off to a good start. You know, they've got to go to Swansea, obviously, and it's important that they get off to a winning start and not concede, and they would like to obviously go out there and try and win by a couple of goals. It puts them in a better position.
Would you suspect, Chris, that there's any nerves from those Chelsea players?
I think there'll probably be less for the Chelsea players because they're used to playing in the pressure
calm,
situation. They do look very calm. You know, Swansea, look at Ben. He's only 19. It's a first for him. It's a first for many of the Swansea City players. So the Chelsea boys will be able to handle the pressure of the situation probably better because they're used to playing in big occasions. And then, listen, Chelsea are full of international players, so they'll probably, I would imagine, settle into the game maybe a bit quicker than the Swansea City players.
OK, let's join our commentators for the first half. Alan Smith, and first of all, Rob Hawthorne.
Well, could it be that this year in the Capital One Cup it is the year of the underdog? Certainly Swansea in that position here as they come to face the European champions. Despite his 2-goal debut at Southampton, Demba Ba doesn't make a home debut in the starting lineup. Instead, Fernando Torres is recalled for the 100th game of his Chelsea career. The only other change from the weekend is forced upon Rafa Benitez, with Victor Moses now away with Nigeria, which means a return for Oscar. Ashley Cole captains the team at his first start in this competition in over 5 years. Hart may have ruled head for Michael Laudrup with his choice of goalkeeper Gerhard Tremmel, who's played throughout the cup run, ahead of regular number 1, Michel Vorm. Elsewhere, the return of skipper Ashley Williams was to be expected after he was rested for the FA Cup draw with Arsenal, as was the comeback of Michu after the immediate effect he had as a substitute. Another incoming player, Pablo Hernandez, scored in the league draw with Chelsea in November. Demba Ba and Danny Graham will consider themselves unlucky to be on the respective benches after scoring at the weekend. Graham in particular, as he scored in Swansea's last 3 matches. So what about the match-up between the 2 Spanish strikers, Alan?
Yeah, I just wonder what he feels about the acquisition of Demba Ba. I think it should do him good. It should keep him on his toes, certainly, and make sure that he is sharp. He's got a bit of competition for that place now, and I think any striker, any player should welcome that. He's been scoring goals this season, 14 so far. You cannot knock that for all the problems he's had whilst being at Stamford Bridge, but this boy has hit the ground running, hasn't he, for Swansea, and he's important tonight for them because apart from his goals, he can hold it up as well. And when Swansea have to tuck in, when they have to defend, and they play the ball up to the centre forward, he's got to get hold of it to allow his teammates to support.
Strong Spanish essence to this game. Rafa Benitez, in his home country, built his reputation at Valencia. And his opposite number tonight, Michael Laudrup, of course, also had a couple of spells managing in Spain with Getafe, whom he took to a cup final, and more recently with Mallorca. But despite having a Welsh club in it, this is a very English occasion, with again the underdogs to the fore. The Bantams already well on their way to a Wembley final. Can the Swans glide in gracefully to join them? Certainly on the basis of the last 3 years, Swansea should feel encouraged because both finalists in those 3 finals got there having been away in the first leg of the semi. And Swansea may come here with a more practical approach to do a containing job, but an away goal could be crucial at the end of extra time in the second leg. So who knows what Michael Laudrup and his side have up their sleeve here.
That's what he was talking about, wasn't he, Michael Laudrup? The importance of trying to grab an away goal. In these 2-legged ties, quite often it comes down to something like that. But it does change the dynamics, of course, it being a 2-legged tie. They will be confident. They've got a good away record, Swansea. More than respectable in the Premier League. Some big performances, big results away from home. Arsenal in the Premier League, Liverpool, of course, in the Capital One Cup. So they should be confident.
Leon Britton from Arsenal and West Ham youth. Here's Ashley Williams, who was rested at the weekend for the draw with Arsenal, which has given Swansea the inconvenience of an extra game before the second leg, as they now have a replay next midweek. Back from David Luiz. Ross Turnbull, who had a loan spell at Cardiff, continuing in the Chelsea goal in the absence of Petr Cech. Turnbull has never faced Swansea, despite having played in that spell in South Wales before tonight. Oscar looking for the free kick and getting it out of Key.
Oscar's not had too many shouts under Rafa Benitez, and it's been very rare that he's played Oscar, Mata and Hazard in the same lineup. Only a couple of times. It's not the kind of system that he prefers, Benitez.
Mata's kick was off Britain, back to Gerhard Tremmel. Played every minute in the League Cup this season, the German goalkeeper. He's had quite a bit of Premier League football too, and Michel Vorm was absent through injury. It's Pablo Hernandez. Ben Davis, the young fullback, who's done well after the unfortunate injury to Neil Taylor. Now Gary Cahill.
Playing similar systems as well, identical really, 4-2-3-1 for Swansea. Hernandez has started on the right-hand side, Routledge on the left. Mata in the middle, behind Torres for Chelsea.
Headed back by Torres. Here is Juan Mata. Now Hazard. Belgium has Ashley Cole out to his left and uses it. Hazard. Cleared by Angel Rangel, and then de Guzman. It's back from Ramirez to Gary Cahill, and everyone except Ross Turnbull now inside the half that Swansea defend. Ramirez. Azpilicueta. And Gary Cahill to Ivanovic. Here's Cole, another one of those like Frank Lampard, whose future beyond this season shrouded in uncertainty. Lampard was cheered to the rafters when his name was announced as being among the substitutes.
Benitez in the week trying to explain the Chelsea policy. It's not easy for him because probably he wouldn't make the same decisions, not necessarily anyway. You would imagine if it was up to him, he would want to keep the class and experience of the likes of Ashley Cole and Frank Lampard.
Here's de Guzman. De Guzman wins the free kick out of Anthony Taylor, tonight's match referee. Quickly taken by Pablo Hernandez, looking for Michu, who was offside anyway. And the referee just paused to see if any advantage would happen for Chelsea. Here's Cesar Azpilicueta, pursued down that side by Wayne Routledge. And here's Davis. Back from Britain.
That's where they will play along the ball under Michael Laudrup. Swansea don't always try the 10-yard pass in those dangerous areas.
This is Cole. Now Hazard. David Luiz. Ball through the middle for Torres. The flag did stay down.
He made a little move and David Luiz saw it. It's a clever attempt to the pass. So good to see him in the middle of the park. I think that's where his future should lie. Such a skillful player, dynamic player as well on the ball.
It's a position he does seem to have nailed down under Rafa Benitez. Here's Chico Flores. Put into touch by Leon Britton, who in his youth followed a similar path to Frank Lampard, went from West Ham to Swansea on loan, but whereas Lampard went back, Britton stayed in South Wales. Here's Ramirez. Mata. Now Oscar. Looking to get the better of Ben Davis. He put his cross away, but Ashley Williams behind that.
Not a bad cross. Defending fairly deep, Swansea, and I think there will be space for the likes of Oscar and Mata to get themselves on the ball. 30, 40 yards from goal.
Mata's corner, Luiz just fell a little behind him, back from Torres. The referee was in Eden Hazard's way a couple of times then. Torres. Cahill. Ivanovic in the middle with a header, was over the top.
An easy one, but that's twice now crosses have come in and they've both spelled danger. It's quite a difficult header for the defender, but there was a bit of holding between Key and Luiz. Key's taking a chance there without question. He's taking a chance.
He has played in all of the League Cup matches that Swansea have played this season, and they have of course played an extra one to their opponents, having joined the competition at the second round stage. Ramirez, now Hazard. And Cole on the overlap, wins the corner out of Chico.
Well, it's a dangerous avenue, a threatening one for Chelsea when Hazard and Ashley Cole bomb forward. He obviously gets the shout, the Belgian. Cole's on his bike.
Cahill has gone across to the far post for this corner, which defensively is occupied by Britton as Hazard takes the corner. And Luiz tries to keep it in.
He didn't want it there. Ben Davis did not want the ball there, tight to the touchline, men around him.
Well, they do like to play it out from the back. Statistically, they've kept roughly the same passing accuracy statistics under Michael Laudrup that they managed under Brendan Rodgers. Here's Torres on the turn.
Quite a lively start from Chelsea. And the team doing all the attacking. It's a good flick from Eden Hazard.
Well, they haven't been short of goals in the Capital One Cup this season, Chelsea. They've scored 5 or more in each of their 3 ties. 6 without reply against Wolves. 5-4 they beat Manchester United. Managed another 5 at Leeds.
Yeah, I thought they were superb up at Ellen Road. They answered a lot of questions. It was an emphatic win. It was a filthy night. The rain was pouring down. Leeds were right at it, so was the crowd, and they really won it comfortably in the second half. Produced some marvellous football.
It was just after they'd come back from Japan as well, wasn't it, when they could have been jet-lagged. Ashley Williams annoyed at the lack of options he had then. Certainly expressing himself forcibly, the Welsh international.
Seen his team really settle yet, being able to pass the ball if they like to.
Ivanovic. Here's David Luiz. Now Cole. Back from Mata. Luiz again. Oscar making the move in from the right. Hazard, lovely move this. Ramirez. It was beautifully worked. Deserved a goal from Chelsea.
Well, a sweet, sweet move. Eden Hazard again at the centre of things. It's a lovely first-time ball into Ramirez. He did have a chance, but he thinks that he's getting closed down, and he tries an extra touch, and then another one. By that time, the chance is gone.
Ramirez scored twice in the last win against Swansea, their last visit here. And they were beaten 4-1 in the Premier League last season, and Fernando Torres scored and was sent off. Swansea have actually conceded 10 goals in their last 2 visits to this ground. They have become experts at containing what they have to and breaking out and winning, as they managed at the Emirates in the league.
Yeah, they get the ball in these areas. You see Chelsea are squeezing a lot more than Swansea are. And that's making it difficult for the visitors really to find any space in those advanced areas.
Here's Chico. Waiting for options to make themselves available. Now Cole. Here's Ivanovic. Again, Oscar had come in from the right, guarded there by Williams. Here's Britton. Hernandez turning away from Cole.
He's up against a tough customer in Ashley Cole tonight. Hernandez, as well as he's done since arriving in England, and he has done well.
And who earned Swansea their point against Chelsea at the Liberty Stadium earlier in the season with a late equaliser. De Guzman offside.
It's a clever ball actually from Leon Britton, so he spotted his teammate who was a yard off, looking across the line. Should have done a little better.
Here's Cole. Ivanovic. Now Ramirez. This is Pablo Hernandez. Rangel. This is Key.
Really positive start from Chelsea, playing a lot of football, you can see, in Swansea's final third. They're looking very compact under Benitez.
Williams. Ashley Williams in with the header. Here's Ramirez. Nice touch from Britton to take it past David Luiz. Here's De Guzman. Now Rangel. Routledge wanted it played in early. Here's Hernandez. Trying to steer it beyond Ashley Cole, but there's Ivanovic to tidy up for Chelsea. Chico Flores straight at Ramirez. Now Cole. This is Azpilicueta. Cahill. Now Luiz. Ivanovic. Cahill trying to step up the tempo here. Ball in towards Torres, but cleared by Ashley Williams. Now Now Ivanovic. Ramirez. Now Mata. Ivanovic. This is Cole.
Some patient football by Chelsea. A lot of passes they've strung together here.
Ramirez trying to step it up and cut away through. Mata aiming one for Eden Hazard, but it's cleared by the head of Angel Rangel. Chelsea are going to have to be patient tonight. Swansea playing the long game over the two legs.
Set the stall out, as I mentioned, they are defending pretty deep and just asking the question, get an awful lot of bodies behind the ball. And whatever they can nick on the counter with the pace of Routledge and Anders supporting Michu, they'll gladly take. I think from Chelsea's point of view, they'd be well served to try and keep that tempo going. The Swansea do struggle sometimes up against a quick pace.
Usual 16-minute plus round of applause for Roberto Di Matteo. Routledge with the ball across. Safely taken in by Ross Turnbull. Here's Mata. Now Oscar neatly around Davis. He wasn't expecting the return necessarily. Oscar. Key there ahead of Ramirez. Cleared in the end by Leon Britton. This is Hernandez. He was hoping to mount a rare venture across the halfway line for Swansea. It is being played almost exclusively in their half, with Swansea just trying to limit the number of opportunities that Chelsea can manufacture.
I've got to say, they're doing it pretty well. It's a long time to adopt this policy, if that's the way it plays out for the entire match, but they are frustrating Chelsea as much as the ball as the home side are enjoying. Not able to work, tremble too much.
Williams. Cahill there, ahead of Wayne Routledge. It is Swansea's first appearance in the semi-final of this competition. And it's not an opportunity they want to pass them by, especially in view of the fact that their great rivals Cardiff got to the final last year. There is a balance to be struck between what they achieve here and what they can safely manage back at the Liberty Stadium in a fortnight's time. There's Rangel. Chico Flores. Kick went towards Azpilicueta, whose foot was raised there. Against Ben Davis. Britton. Good touch on towards Routledge, but Gary Cahill just there ahead of him.
I think that'll be the hope. At times they can get the ball wide to use the pace of Routledge and Hernandez.
Davis tried to help it back, but couldn't get the contact. Here's Williams. Now to Guzman. Here's Key. Routledge. Looking for the ball across to Hernandez, who tries to lose Ashley Cole. Louise. Here's Michu. Going for the target.
It's better from Swansea. Not often they've enjoyed controlled possession. 40 yards from Chelsea's goal, but they have last couple of minutes.
First attempt of any sort they have managed in the game so far. And it's mainly been played in this kind of area. Mata. Here's Louise. Cahill. Now Ivanovic.
No space for Torres to spin into. He's trying to, but there's very little room behind that Swansea back four.
Here's Mata. Ivanovic. Ramirez. Put through by Azar, but Williams there to meet it. Here's Cole. Azar. Not to be knocked off the ball easily. Mata's strike comes back off Ben Davis. Routledge loses out. And Spilicueta has a go, but misses the target.
When you're playing against a packed defence, sometimes that's what it takes. The player to take the initiative and take on his play, which Eden Hazard did, and that started the move. He beat a player and they got themselves into a good area. Tremel always saw this one. Got his angle sorted.
Cesar Spilicueta playing his 20th game for Chelsea, yet to score for the club. Food for thought already for the interim Chelsea boss.
It's never an empty notepad, is it? For Benitez, no matter how the game's going.
Well, having seen what Azpilicueta did, Gary Cahill strode forward then with a determination to try his luck.
There is ground to run into because they are defending so deep, Swansea.
Ivanovic. Here's Cahill. Azpilicueta. Davis didn't quite keep it in. Here's Louise. Ivanovic. Mata trying to break free of Britain. Davis has to deal with it. Where that Oscar would have been behind him, turns it behind.
Yeah, we haven't seen many decent crosses coming in, and that was one of them from Juan Mata. Real beauty that had to be dealt with.
Maybe third time lucky on the corner count here for Chelsea. Cahill got up.
Well, they look threatening from those corners, Chelsea. He's always in and around it, Gary Cahill. Scored goals for club and country this season. Attacks the ball really well.
He scored in both of his appearances in the previous rounds of this competition this season. Scored against Wolves and against Manchester United. Chelsea are the top scorers in the tournament with 16 goals. Looking for another one here. Mata! Never really put any power behind that.
He didn't, but again, Eden Hazard just grabbing it by the scruff of the neck and deciding to run at players. And that opens things up for Juan Mata. You'd expect him actually on that left foot to do a lot better than that. It's one of their better attempts, most clear-cut chances for Chelsea. The best chance, you'd say, this first half.
Tremblay hasn't been the first choice in the Premier League, but did play in the league meeting between these two sides. That was the first game that Vaughan missed because of the groin injury. Found Rangel from his clearance. Here's Cole. Now Ivanovic. Ramirez. Rangel in tight on Hazard. Here's to Guzman. Now Rangel once again. Away from Ivanovic, but not from David Luiz. Hazard meeting Turnbull's clearance. Britain. Now Ben Davis. This is Key. Trying to open it up for Routledge, who's subdued for now by Azpilicueta.
He's been in charge, the Chelsea right back. On a few occasions they have got the ball at that side, Swansea.
Pulled across by Davis for Michu. Ramirez. Michu again. Misplaced ball from de Guzman. Live action to come this week with the Johnston's Paint Trophy Northern semi-final between Coventry and Preston, live on Sky Sports 1 HD tomorrow from 7:30. And Football League action on Friday with Wolves up against Blackburn Rovers. Sky Sports 1 HD from 7:30. Dean Saunders Wolves now. Well, Swansea will feel pleased at the containing job they've done, and as the half hour approaches,
I think they will. But he has looked to danger. If they can get the ball to him a little more against a packed defence, a man that can beat a player with his pace and trickery, can open doors. He has looked a threat.
first time Hazard started a League Cup tie. All of his previous appearances in the competition have been from the bench. Here's Mata. Hazard looking to get away from Angel Rangel. Ivanovic looking for Luiz, did well to get there ahead of Michu.
He has got really quick feet. David Luiz comes in handy in those situations.
Lovely flick from Oscar. Mata looking to break through here. Beyond the far post.
Fernando Torres not too far away, but he was going for goal, I think. An inspired little flick from Oscar. He's had one with his left and now his right. Mata, each time just missing out.
Lovely touch from Oscar. Chelsea certainly carrying the greater threat. Hernandez trying to play through to Michu, who is one of those players who can look out of the game and then suddenly explode into life with devastating consequences. Routledge finding Ben Davis. Davis put Williams into trouble there, and there could be even bigger problems. Torres in behind Williams, and Mata will try and get there first, but Tremmel does.
Oh, so close, weren't they? I think it might have got a nick off the defender when Torres was trying to find Mata. He's taken a knock as well for his troubles.
Slipped through here towards Michu, he was offside anyway. And as it happened, Gary Cahill got there ahead of him. Torres. Cleared by Key. Here's to Guzman. Routledge. Got himself into difficulties against David Luiz.
Yeah, he read that brilliantly, Luiz.
Luiz looking to pick out a pass here, and he has. Oh, really unlucky. Great vision again from David Luiz. Oscar couldn't make the most of it, as it turned out.
No, he drifted in between two players, and there wasn't too much to aim at for Luiz, but he did it brilliantly. Very nearly brought it down, Oscar.
Here's Ramirez. Ivanovic. Cole. And again, Ashley Cole has got in, but he can't slide it across.
Well, they got themselves in a tangle, Swansea, with the backwards ball from Ben Davis. Nothing too much on in front of him. Torres has seen Mata early on, and he does get a little nick off the defender, and that makes all the difference because it diverts the ball towards the keeper. Beautiful ball that was, and he was in a good position, Oscar, to bring that down. It's a poor touch from him.
Brazilians almost combining to good effect for Chelsea. Touch back from David Luiz to Cahill. Here's Ivanovic. Mata. Ashley Cole. Aspilicueta. Here's Ramirez, given away cheaply to Routledge. To Guzman. Back from Hernandez. Here's Rangel.
Haven't passed the ball as well as they might, Swansea, in this first half, but you've got to give good credit, great credit to Chelsea for that. They're a much better team without the ball these days. Under Benitez, much more difficult to break down.
Rangel. Ramirez. Key, now Britton. This is Davis. key. This is Chico. Ivanovic having to hold off Pablo Hernandez. He felt he was held off a little unfairly then.
His touch wasn't quite right there. The Spaniards. It's been the case a few times for the Swansea players going forward.
Here's Azpilicueta. Now Oscar. Maybe to get the better of the youngster Davis. And he has. Cleared by Williams. Ramirez. Cleared again by Williams. Now Mata. Luiz.
Knocking on the door. Getting closer and closer, Chelsea. But Swansea preserving that clean sheet. It's been a frustration.
Well, perseverance will be the order of the day here for Chelsea. Here's Mata, who's had a few sights of goal himself. Ramirez had one after a particularly well-crafted move. I felt he should have had a free kick then, but he's not getting one.
Seemed to get his boot there first when Chico came in with a challenge. He did.
Applause around Stamford Bridge for the sight of Frank Lampard warming up. Lampard actually scored his first senior goal for Swansea. A loan spell there 17 years ago, when he was only 17 years old. Poor touch that from Ivanovic. De Guzman could be in. Michu! And Chelsea pay a really heavy price for the mistake. The last person you want to give an opportunity like that to is this man, Michu.
Well, he's taken his eye off the ball, Ivanovic. He's looking what he was going to do next, rather than concentrating on the first touch. Having a little glance around, who's by me? Just doesn't get the touch right. De Guzman's on like a flash. And Michu, you said it earlier, Rob. He can be out of the game for large parts, but give him a sniff, and the chances are he'll take it. This was clinical on his left side. That was deadly. It really was from the Spaniard. A brilliant finish. He's fed on scraps. Less than that this first half. What a shocker for Chelsea.
What a signing he has been for Michael Laudrup. In this day and age, can he only have cost £2 million? Michu, goal number 16 of the season, his second in this competition. He scored at Crawley in August. But what a big goal that could be in the context of this semi-final, where again, it's the underdogs making waves. Chelsea, I'm sure, can barely believe it. They've had all the pressure, all the decent chances as well in this first half, and yet, such is football, they find themselves a goal down.
It was not of their own making, was it? It was clearly a mistake from Ivanovic, but they were onto it very quickly. De Guzman in particular closed down Ivanovic very quickly.
Here's Torres. Ivanovic. Luiz. On by Mata. De Guzman. Michu going into challenge with Gary Cahill. Shows the need for the footwork to De Guzman, and Hernandez is there.
Oh, it's amazing, isn't it? We were sat here wondering when Chelsea's first goal was going to come in this first half. Could never have envisaged what we've seen. Lovely feet from the centre half. Michael Laudrup's got his away goal that he was talking about this week.
Oscar trying to show his strength there against Hernandez, who takes an instant reprisal and has got himself into bother because of it.
Yeah, he got sucked in there. But naivety really from Hernandez. David Luiz, the peacemaker. He had a couple of nibbles before the foul. Can't mess around with somebody like Oscar because he's so clever. He knows exactly where you are, and he's want to move the ball away just as the challenge comes. That's so clumsy. That's a really poor one.
Oscar had shown his strength against Hernandez. But the way he took action into his own hands then was beyond the pale, hence the booking. Here's Luiz. Ivanovic. Branislav Ivanovic goes for goal, looking to make up for the mistake that led to Swansea's.
One of their better shots from distance in this first half, Chelsea's.
Mata with a corner and towards Fernando Torres. Chelsea fans behind that goal thinking they should have had another corner.
It was a really good effort from Ivanovic. Struck with a lot of power. It's a top-class save from Tremble.
He's had a bit of goal-scoring form lately, the Serbian Player of the Year. He scored 3 in his last 6 matches. He won't mind too much what the source of a Chelsea goal is, as long as they get one, so that his error that led to Michu's goal is forgotten about. Michael Laudrup nearly took it full in the face from his own player there as Rangel cleared.
I don't think the game plan has worked perfectly. Bodies behind the ball, defending deep and trying to nick something up the other end.
Oscar. It's loose as it's come to Ramirez. Williams stops him. Azpilicueta on the follow-up. Strikes it wide.
Ramirez takes one here on the follow-through. Ashley Williams right down the thigh.
Strong lad though, Ramirez, not making too much fuss about it.
Which is always good to see. Not everyone is of the same mind.
Final minute of a half that has worked a dream for Swansea. He soaked it up and soaked it up, and now Ramirez has slipped, but he was held down by Key, hence the free kick. Here's David Luiz. Now Mata. Here's Ivanovic. It's the one added minute for Chelsea to get themselves level before half-time. A real sense of urgency, and Ivanovic has at least won a free kick, which gives Chelsea one last chance to strike before the break.
Yeah, they get away with that because the ball went into Hazard and he gave it away. David Luiz has been known to have a go from these distances, Rob, but he's walked away.
Scored spectacularly here, didn't he, in the 8-0 win over Villa recently from a free kick. It's left to Juan Mata to sort this one out. And Luiz instead goes round the back. Here's Cole. Now Mata. And it is a first half in which the outsiders are doing it again. Michu with his 16th goal of the season, making the most of a slip from Branislav Ivanovic, and Chelsea, having had the majority of the pressure and the attacks in that first half, somehow at half-time find themselves a goal behind. Chelsea 0, Swansea 1.
Thanks, Rob. Not what the home support wanted. We'll get the thoughts of Dennis Wise and Chris Coleman when we return. Swansea had absorbed all that pressure. They just needed that one chance. With his 16th of the season, the visitors are one up.
Sponsored by Bet365.